My dad drives the Rover out. We are wearing our survival suits, breathing an air mixture. He parks the Rover, gets out, and starts walking away from us, but I just stare. We are all alone in the middle of Mars, and it's strange how serene it is. The horizon unbroken by buildings or trees or anything but a rolling rock-studded surface, an alien desert. This way, my dad calls over his mic, race you to the edge. And then we are bounding across the landscape, and I'm leaping over big boulders with an ease I could never have done on Earth. And it's such a rush, this feeling coursing through me, my heart pounding, my lungs inflating, as if every cell in me is shouting, so healthy, so alive, that it seems inconceivable that this same strong body may not support me on Earth. I stop suddenly, my dad a step ahead, my breath caught in my throat. We are standing on the edge of a huge canyon, winding and wild, something out of a movie. It is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen, I think. It's awesome in its rawness, like the ocean, and a strange peace steals over me. That, my dad says, is the Nergal Vallis. We think that there was once a big river there. Like the Grand Canyon, I say? Exactly, Georgiana, my mom says. And see right there, that red flag, my dad says, pointing to a stretch of cliff where the little red flag waves merrily. Uh-huh. His throat clears importantly. That little spot is where I found a downward smear of water-soluble mineral deposits in a core sample. He draws the moment out. I figure we drill about 400 meters down and we'll hit water, he says with a wink. Really? Even I can't keep the excitement out of my voice. They found water! Really, my mom says, smiling at my dad proudly. Your dad's a smart guy. She grasps his hand. Does anybody know yet, I ask. Not yet. We won't announce it until we know for sure, my dad says. But we will, my mom adds confidently. The signs are all there, he says. I stare at my dad. But how do you know you'll find water, Dad? I mean, how can you know for sure? And then he says something that shocks me. Nothing's ever certain, Georgiana, my dad, the scientist, says. His voice crackles over the mic. You just have to have hope. I'm bobbing in the ocean, my wet hair plastering my face, the scent of salt in the air. The water's warm, and I turn, and there is Nana right beside me. Nana, I cry, hugging her tight, embracing her sturdy body, comforting like Christmas. I've missed you so. Why, I've missed you too, Georgie, she says, pushing a strand of hair out of my face. You don't look like you're dying, I say. Who says I'm dying? I'm healthy as a horse. And she looks it. Her cheeks are ruddy, her skin is flush with good health, even her eyes are shining. I want to do something, I say, but I'm a little scared. You can do whatever you want to do, she says. You always could. I want to come home, I say simply, to be with you. But Georgie, she says, her eyes twinkling, you're already home. And then I wake up alone in the dark little plastic cabin and hear the dust storm raging outside, and I can't help myself. I just cry. Buddy sidles up to me in the mess hall with a full tray of food. People are lingering all over their precious cups of coffee and chewing on toffees. You been crying, Brett? I glare at him. So did you see the doc? He presses. Yeah, great news. Best case scenario, I have to be in the hospital for 4 to 5 months hooked up to an IV. Worst case, I'm crippled for life. I swallow hard. And Nana's all alone, I whisper, my voice breaking. He clears his throat. My grandfather died from cancer, too. They gave him 3 months to live. And do you know how long he lasted? How long? I whisper, hope lodged in my throat. A whole year. I'd settle for a week with Nana, I think. His beeper goes off and he groans. There goes dinner. Shuttle just got in. Shuttle? Supply shuttle. I'm helping to unload it. It's on a quick turnaround, just dropping off supplies and then heading back to Earth in the morning. He stands abruptly. The dust storm is roaring outside, but the only thing I hear is that one little word. Earth. I grab his wrists. Maybe I could bring you some coffee in the morning. You know, over at the shuttle, I say casually, looking him straight in the eye, willing him to hear me. Buddy unwraps a toffee, sticks it in his mouth, chews for a moment, and stares at me. There's a curious expression on his face. Sure, he says. How about at 0700? Over his shoulder, I see my parents enter the cafeteria, holding hands and laughing, and something inside me goes still. Suddenly, all these little things seem so important. This candy, those smiles, these 2 strong legs. How can I possibly give this up? Buddy sees where I'm looking and shakes his head. You sure you know what you're doing? Have you thought about it? You know, your legs, he asks. Nothing certain, I say, and I know that I am my father's daughter after all, but you just have to have hope.